Yo, what is up, people? We got another mock draft here for you. This one, though, off the dome. However, we are going to try and play to what, like, all the NFL rumors are and everything like that. So, the Rumorville, it's all open here in this mock draft. Like, we're going to get a little bit wild, a little bit crazy. Like, why not? No trades, however, mainly because I don't have PFF Premium. And I didn't want to do it on, like, NFL Mock Sim or whatever it is. Really quickly, though, Caleb Williams will go number 1 here before we get a little bit wild. Obviously, there's been a lot of crazy things being said about this draft class. The top 10, the top 3 even. Where does Drake May go? Is Michael Penix a top 3 quarterback? Like, what? Malik Neighbors is wide receiver 1 for some people. Maybe that's a factor in this video. I guess we will find out. But this is probably the last mock draft that I will do before NFL draft, honestly. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. I will have one out the day of the NFL draft, and then I will be live streaming the NFL draft here on YouTube. Maybe it'll be Twitch. Still haven't figured that one out yet, but I will be live streaming it regardless. Thursday, April 26th, I believe. Is that right? I think it's the 26th. 26th through 28th. So hopefully y'all pop in. I would love to just have good vibes all night and just, rip on teams who make assumingly dumb picks. No, it'll be fun. Please remember, obviously that's still, a week and a half, 2 weeks out from now. But I will remind y'all again when it comes closer to that time. But I hope y'all come and join. So it'll be fun. But let's get right into this mock draft. Caleb Williams at number 1 to the Bears. I mean, they traded for Keenan Allen, who's been 13 his entire career, and he took number 15. Who's going to the Bears at number 1? It's self-explanatory. The kid's been number 1 since his freshman year at Oklahoma. His arm talent is special. He throws from every arm angle. He literally can go from throwing like Mariano Rivera to throwing like Taylor Rogers, for people who get that baseball reference. Like, the dude can throw from literally any arm angle. Arm talent, he can make any throw on the field. His pro day was really good, even though you shouldn't take that much stock into it. The Jets learned that the hard way with Zach Wilson, didn't they? So don't put too much stock into the pro day. Those are supposed to be rhythm throws and then a big throw at the end. But he does have a huge arm and one of the best in this class, if not the best. But at number 2, Washington Commanders. I do think all signs are leading to Jaden Daniels out of LSU. 2023 Heisman Trophy winner and much deserved of that. So the last 2 Heisman winners go 1-2 here. And Jaden Daniels, for some people even, I've heard as QB1 in this class, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. That's just my opinion, though. He is a really good player. I don't even have him as QB2, but again, we're getting crazy. We're getting stupid. I don't think it's that crazy, actually, anymore to have Jaden Daniels at number 2. He seems like he's gained a lot of hype, unless you have concern about his elbow, if you've seen that on Twitter. So Jaden Daniels, obviously, he's the best dual threat quarterback in this draft, and a lot of people were thinking they might go with him anyways because Mariota's a dual threat kind of guy. So it would be a perfect fit as a backup. Pick number 3 for the New England Patriots. And you know what? It is going to be J.J. McCarthy here at number 3. Could this be Marvin Harrison? Yes. Could this be a trade down spot? Certainly. A lot of signs actually leaning the Patriots to be a trade spot at 3, which is kind of absurd considering they traded away Mac Jones and there's no way that Gerard Mayo wants to start his coaching career with Bailey Zappi, unless they want the number 1 pick for next year. But the number 1 pick might be James Pierce, not a quarterback. So it'll be interesting. I think they should go quarterback. I think they will go quarterback. If they trade out, I can't imagine they go any farther than 11, which you still might be able to get a guy like Michael Penix, who is rising up draft boards, apparently. But J.J. McCarthy, a proven winner at the collegiate level, only lost like 3 total games as a Wolverine, which is absurd. Really good footwork. I think he can make every throw in the NFL, any throw that he's asked to make. He's really good on the run, actually, as a thrower. His footwork's pretty solid, though. He looked good at the combine. But I have J.J. McCarthy going here at 3 to mix it up a little bit. Drake May falling? Is he QB 5? We'll find out. But obviously, here at number 4, I think all signs are just leading to Marvin Harrison Jr. I know I said Malik Neighbors. He might be going wide receiver 1 for some teams, but, they've done all their homework. He's visited with them. Maybe there is a chance that Marvin Harrison does fall to 5. I think that would have to be a trade down, though. I don't think he falls to 5 with Malik Neighbors going over him to the Cardinals. It could definitely happen. The draft is, the great unknown. It could happen, but I'm not going to have it happening. I'm not going to get that crazy. Marvin Harrison, 4 here to the Cardinals. Pick number 5, LA Chargers. First pick in the Jim Harbaugh era. No, yeah, no. I think I got picked on last time. I sound like a fucking child. Picked on. I remember some people commenting my last mock draft that Joe Alt going here at 5 is absurd because Malik Neighbors is just such a better player. Why would they do that? And I don't think it's completely out of their options here. Jim Harbaugh loves to run the ball. He loves having a really good offensive line. Now, this offensive line class is deep, but you can also say the same thing about this receiving class. You could just go get the consensus number 1 overall tight end or offensive tackle, in Joe Alt, and then pick up a really good receiver in the second round that might fall. So I think that's the route that they should take. Is it the route that they will take? I don't know. Does Jim Harbaugh really want that uber playmaker in a Malik Neighbors? Probably. But I'm going to go with Joe Alt here to the Chargers. I just think it makes so much sense. They brought in Gus Edwards. They have Greg Roman as their OC. He doesn't even like throwing the ball to receivers anyways. So why draft a Malik Neighbors if you're just going to waste the talent? But I don't think that's even the reason why they choose Joe Alt over Neighbors. I think it's just the fact Joe Alt's going to fit what they want to do on offense. Pick number 6, the New York Football Giants, my team. They got Drake May sitting here. You got Malik Neighbors, and you got Rome Odunze. That's honestly best case scenario if this were to happen on draft night. And they've been doing their homework. Brought in J.J. McCarthy and Drake May for pre-draft visits, and they have had both of them for private workouts. They had dinner with, I think it was Drake May. Maybe it was J.J. McCarthy, before the combine or something, or their pro day, whatever it was. I think it was Drake May's pro day. They had dinner with him the night before. So they are not out of the realm of this quarterback class, especially if they want to trade up to 4 if a J.J. McCarthy falls out of the top 3, or maybe it's a Jaden Daniels, a Drake May. Maybe they trade back and think they can get Michael Penix at, say, an 11 if the Vikings want to trade up, or the Raiders at 13. So it'll be very interesting. I am going to take Drake May here. He is falling down boards, which is absurd to me because he's quarterback 2. If this was me, Drake May would have gone at 2, and this would be probably J.J. McCarthy here at 6. But again, we're going off the rumor mill, and rumor has it that Drake May is falling down boards, possibly because of the footwork, possibly because of the inconsistencies. But without Drake May, North Carolina is, flip the record. They go 3-10 or whatever they did this year without Drake May. So, and I think back to Josh Allen and people really hating on that pick for the Bills, who was the guy that really, really helped clean up Josh Allen's footwork and mechanics? It was Brian Dable. Yes, he did off-season training with Palmer, James Palmer, right? It was one of the Palmers. I can't remember. Yes, he did that, but Brian Dable really put him in a good spot offensively with that scheme, and I think you could run a very similar scheme, and Daniel Jones is not fit for a Brian Dable scheme, I don't think. Drake May much closer to a Josh Allen prototype, I guess, as a quarterback. I think this would be a really, really good fit. Drake May would be, you don't have to start him right away. I think you could start him day 1, at least give him the chance to compete for QB1 in the offseason. If Daniel Jones beats him out, so be it. The kid is 21 years old. Pick number 7 here for the Tennessee Titans. They brought in Calvin Ridley. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You have Treylon Burks You have Chig at tight end. You got Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard in the backfield for Will Levis. I love what they've built already. I like their new head coach. I think you need someone who can block. And Brian Callahan comes from a Bengals team that really likes to pass the ball. And I think Olu Fashanu might be the best pass blocker in this class. And he's going to go here at 7 to the Titans. I think he really fits what they want to do there. This could definitely be a Malik Neighbors, but he's somehow falling here. But I really do think Fashanu could be a really good fit for that Titans offense and what they want to do. Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard, two really good receiving backs. Yes, they're good running backs, but the receiving option that they have is kind of what makes them so productive in the NFL. Expect a lot of passes from Will Levis this year, and Olu Fashanu being across from Peter Skoronski and who's on the right side? Is it Petit Frere on the right side of that Tennessee offensive line? Fashanu really, really helps that left side. So this really is a huge upgrade to that Tennessee O-line that desperately needs it. Pick number 8 here for the Falcons. I think this could be the first defensive player off the board, and I think that's the direction I'm going to go. And I think it's going to be Dallas Turner. I mean, Combine, he completely ripped it up. He was probably the best defensive performance at the Combine. Like, from the athletic testing to the on-field drills, and then even interviews from what we've heard, he just had a really, really good weekend in Indianapolis. Obviously, super productive in the SEC there at Alabama. Yes, across from Chris Braswell, who's probably a top 50 player for a lot of people, at least top 75, I would assume. And that talent across the defensive line is also just incredible. But those guys got one-on-one looks because Dallas Turner was so special that they had to really focus on shutting him down before anyone else, or else he would just be a complete game wrecker on the edge. Pick number 9. How in the hell is Malik Neighbors still here? I don't know. But the Bears just walked away with the steal of the draft, maybe the steal of the past 10 years, with Caleb Williams and then Malik Neighbors at 9. Are you kidding me? Just completely insane, value at 9. A top 5 player for most, even top 3 for some people, is Malik Neighbors. Insane player. When you get the ball in his hands, he is special. I don't think you should be too worried about drops, but he does sometimes have concentration drops where he's trying to get up the field a little bit too quickly. Doesn't always catch the ball through contact. So maybe that's a reason he falls here, but he is special, man. He can be a vertical threat. He can be a horizontal threat. He can play out of the backfield, screen game, anything. Anything you want this guy to do, he can do it. And like I said, once the ball is in his hands, he's going for at least an extra 5 to 10 yards each time. Pick number 10 here for the Jets. Obviously, they brought in Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith over this offseason. So do they still go tackle? Maybe. I mean, you got Talis Fuaga there. He would be perfect in that Jets offense when Breece Hall blocking for him. Or I should say blocking for Breece Hall. Sorry, that was probably a little bit confusing. Rome Odunze has been linked to this team. I think he's kind of similar, though, to what Mike Williams is. But I don't want to say that because I think that would give people the wrong comparison. Mike Williams is kind of just a deep threat, jump ball type of guy. Rome Odunze, yes, he does that very effectively, but I think he's more than that. This could definitely be where Brock Bowers goes. And I think that's the direction I'm going to go. Brock Bowers stays in the top 10 for this mock draft. He goes here at 10 to the Jets. I think can end up being a really good run blocker. He's already pretty decent. A little bit inconsistent. That's not really his game. His game is the receiving game. And day one, he might be a top 5 tight end in the league walking in. Definitely top 10, in my opinion. I don't think you can name 10 guys better than him. The dude is just special. He's got really good hands. He's got really good route running for the tight end position. Good athleticism, hard to bring down. And he's definitely not a liability in the run game. That's for sure. Pick number 11 for the Minnesota Vikings. They miss out They don't trade up for a QB, but you know what? They'll get one here. Michael Penix apparently shooting up boards, top 3 quarterback for some teams. Goes here at 11, much higher than I think a lot of people think he is going to go. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. We've seen it before. I mean, Mac Jones went 15 to the Patriots. Maybe you don't like Justin Fields. He went 11 to the Bears. Trey Lance went 3 overall. Zach Wilson went 2. Like, if people really like quarterbacks, they're going to draft them higher than they should. Quarterbacks are always overdrafted. It's just the name of the game in the NFL draft. But Michael Penix Jr., I think, is a day one starter. He does process the field pretty well. Sometimes he definitely is just looking for the deep shot, which he needs to be careful for because NFL defenses will just, play some cover 4 or a cover 6 where they kind of disguise coverages, and then he's going to end up getting picked off quite often, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did get intercepted quite a bit his rookie year. I mean, for any rookie quarterback, like, it's going to happen. Those are just growing pains. But he's also an older quarterback, so you hope that he kind of catches on to that a little quicker and doesn't keep that a consistent part of his game. Obviously, though, he has a rocket for an arm. He may have some of the best zip in this class, if not the best. Like, when it comes out of his hand, it pops out of his hand. It's like a pitcher in baseball. When they say it just almost pops out of their hand off the mound, and then it's already in the catcher's mitt. Like, that's how it feels sometimes watching Michael Penix Jr. He lets go. Obviously, he has that little bit windier lefty release. Not quite as quick of a release as some of these other guys, but he's still damn accurate. Not too accurate on the run. I think he could definitely work on that a little bit more. You saw a lot of trouble with it in the Texas game and the national championship where it really showed up when he was getting flushed out of the pocket. Just a little bit inaccurate, and the processing kind of goes out the window a little bit when he's on the run. At pick number 12, the Denver Broncos. They're looking for a quarterback too. Is it Bo Nix? Maybe. They could go wide receiver here. Rome Odunze falling down the board. They could definitely use all the help they need or that they can get on the defensive line. This could be first cornerback off the board. Obviously, you lost Jerry Jeudy. You trade him away for some draft capital. I think Rome Odunze would not be a bad fit in this offense. Kind of a Michael Thomas-esque prospect. They feel kind of similar in size, production, what they can do on the field. I think Odunze could be that for Sean Payton, who really coached up Michael Thomas and made him who he was those first couple years. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Rome Odunze here. I can't see him really falling much farther than this. Obviously, he could. Like I've been saying, it is the draft. Anything can happen. Maybe the Broncos try to wait for a quarterback later in this draft. I don't know if they'll get one. They do go Rome Odunze here, who I think is a really good route runner. Best jump ball, 50-50 ball receiver in the class. Go peep my Neighbors versus Odunze film that I did a couple weeks ago. That Oregon game where he's going up against Kyrie Jackson and some other really good corners over there at Oregon. He goes up and gets it. Yeah, I think he'd be wide receiver 1 for that Denver Broncos team, even with Cortland Sutton there. Pick number 13, Las Vegas Raiders. They've been linked to Jaden Daniels. Obviously, Antonio Pierce was there at ASU when Jaden Daniels was there, his freshman, sophomore, and junior year. But I think Pierce might have just been there for his freshman and sophomore year. But they have been linked. Apparently, he's been given the full go to try and trade up for a quarterback if he really likes him. Maybe they'd really like him and try to trade up, but there's not always a guarantee, especially when Jaden Daniels is projected to possibly go number 2 and the Commanders want a quarterback. So they got Christian Wilkins in the offseason. I think one of the better signings during free agency, especially that day one period of it. I think they need some corner help. And you have your selection of any corner you want. Terrion Arnold feels like he would be perfect for a Antonio Pierce run defense. He just plays with that tenacity, kind of nastiness of just want to be up in your face, really just get you off your game. But he has really good ball skills. Does Terrion Arnold. Huge upgrade, CB1 for them when he walks into the building, without a doubt. I know Nate Hobbs is there, and I love Nate Hobbs. And you could definitely play him across from Nate Hobbs as the CB2, but I think you could also put him at cornerback 1, and he'd be just fine in that position. Takes on that challenge, and he obviously had maybe the best cornerback season of any SEC player last year, and that's why he's getting shot up the draft board, and he's in Daniel Jeremiah's top 10. Pick number 14 here for the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans. Where do we want to go? Obviously, this has been a tackle spot for me for a while. They got rid of Michael Thomas, yeah? So it's just Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, and the kid out of Wake Forest. Oh, why can't I think of his name? A.T. Perry, there we go. That's your top 3 receivers probably going into next season. Olave is kind of that versatile inside-out piece. Really good route runner. A.T. Perry, your jump ball kind of red zone threat kind of guy. Shaheed, your deep threat. So maybe they feel okay with their receivers, and they still want to go on the offensive line because you don't know how much longer Ryan Ramczyk's going to be able to play. And I think Troy Fautanu out of Washington would actually be a really solid fit here. I know I've gone J.C. Latham a lot, but Fautanu is really rising up boards after an impressive offseason process and a really impressive combine weekend where he lit up the athletic and on-field testing. He's definitely high on a lot of people's boards. Maybe he is just a guard at the next level, but I think you could definitely try him out at tackle and it wouldn't hurt. And it would replace Ryan Ramczyk, who can't even stay healthy anyway. So pick number 15, the Indianapolis Colts. This has been corner a lot for me. You have Michael Pittman, you have Josh Downs. I think you're really missing that piece on offense for Anthony Richardson. He needs that deep threat guy. He does. And Brian Thomas is that guy. The Colts really don't have it, and if you want to say it's Alec Pierce, you're lying to yourself. Brian Thomas at 6'4" almost ran a 4.34. All right, or 4.33, whatever the hell it was, at 6'4", 210 pounds. That is ridiculous. The dude is a bona fide deep threat. He might actually walk in and by the season's end be the Colts wide receiver 1. I think he can develop a really good route tree and end up being that wide receiver 1 for them. But when you already have Josh Downs, who's going to play in the slot, and he's a really good slot receiver, Michael Pittman's your possession guy. Get that deep threat for Anthony Richardson. Don't just have Anthony Richardson, who has one of the best arms in the NFL, and not utilize it with deep balls. And Brian Thomas can then be effective and really productive in that aspect. Because Michael Pittman's not going to burn guys over the top. Josh Downs has the ability to, but he's not always going to out of the slot. Get Brian Thomas and that Colts offense with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield and Anthony Richardson both being really, really good run threats is going to really open it up for Brian Thomas. Pick number 16 here for the Seattle Seahawks. You re-signed Leonard Williams, so I don't think I would go interior with this pick. Could be edge. You lost Damian Lewis and someone else on that interior of the offensive line. You would have loved if Fautanu fell here. It could be Jackson Powers Johnson. I think 16's a little bit high, though. You know what? I'm actually going to go Jazon Newton, or Johnny Newton, as he goes by. I don't think Leonard Williams should stop you from taking a prospect like Johnny Newton. Super productive, took on a ton of double teams this past year, and was still uber productive. He's a really good athlete. I think he stands at about 6'2", close to 300 pounds. If I'm not mistaken. 6'2", 295, yeah. I think he's just a really good player. I think he got injured at the end of the season, which kind of faltered his draft stock a little bit, and is the reason why you saw Byron Murphy kind of shoot up. Not to mention Byron Murphy's athleticism and production as well. But Jazon Newton could be an absolute force through the middle of that defense. And I think it allows your linebackers to play a little bit more freely just because he takes up so much space and can make so many plays on the interior of your defensive line. And Leonard Williams, let's be honest, he is not a top end interior defensive lineman. At best in his career, he's been above average, and that was with the Giants. The one season he got 10 plus sacks. I think Johnny Newton would come in and actually be the Seahawks' best interior defensive lineman. And you'd have him for at least 4 years, if not 5, if you want to get that 5th-year extension at the end of it. Plus, when you have Nwosu and Boye Mafe on the edge, create more one-on-ones. Like, that's the name of the game with the pass rush. Create as many one-on-ones as you can. Jer'Zhan Newton, he'll take on 2 people and still get to the quarterback. So that's going to leave guys like Leonard Williams with one-on-ones. Guys like Boye Mafe with one-on-ones. So I think that's a really good pick for the Seahawks. Pick number 17, I think I'm just going to go Quinyon Mitchell really quickly. They need corner help still, in my opinion. You lost Darius Williams, which I don't think hurts you too much, but you still need someone across from Tyson Campbell. And Quinyon Mitchell might actually end up being better than Tyson Campbell, which is crazy because Tyson Campbell, ever since he got to the league, has been a very, very productive player and quickly became the Jags cornerback 1. So having 2 cornerbacks that could possibly be your cornerback 1 is not a bad thing. The more corner and secondary help you have, the better in this league, especially the more it turns into a passing league. And Quinyon Mitchell, he's had one of the best offseason processes of anyone. I mean, you think back to the Senior Bowl, he locked down every single person outside of maybe Roman Wilson, who had the best performance as an offensive player at that Senior Bowl. Then you go to the Combine. All the athletic testing, tests out. Dude's a freak athlete. He plays with good strength. He plays press really well. He's got really good ball skills. Everything that you want in a lockdown corner. Pick number 18, Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, you would like to see Brian Thomas fall here, ideally, or a Brock Bowers. Neither of them do. I think Fuaga falling here to 18 makes a lot of sense. Just to be able to protect Joe Burrow. I know Fuaga is kind of that. When you think of Fuaga, you think run blocking, not really pass blocking, but something that he can definitely develop. And you lost Jonah Williams this year, if I'm not mistaken. So you really only have Orlando Brown out there, and he's playing on the left side, I believe. I think Delis Fuaga makes a lot of sense here for a team that's been needing to protect Joe Burrow for a while now. Pick number 19, Los Angeles Rams. They helped themselves out a lot this offseason. They signed some really good interior players, re-signed Kevin Dotson, got Jonah Jackson from the Lions, got Darius Williams back for perimeter help on the defense. The other thing is, though, you lose Aaron Donald. Why not replace that pass rush with Leatu Latu? Keep him in Southern California, not too far from UCLA at all. Just go right down the street to SoFi Stadium, man, in Inglewood, California. But seriously, Leatu Latu is, in my opinion, the best pure pass rusher in this class. He's always got a plan. His pass rush moves and technique is A+ for a prospect. Run game could still get better, although he was much improved this past year. And medical tests, they all checked out. The neck seems to be fine. Hopefully that stays true. Apparently all the interviews went pretty well at the Combine as well. And he's just a phenomenal player, man. He's one of my favorite players in this class. So keeping him in LA for the Rams, I think, would be a really good option. Pick number 20 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You bring in Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. You lose Deontay Johnson, to the Panthers. So you really just have George Pickens out there with, you got Darnell Washington and Pat Freiermuth at tight end, Najee Harris in the backfield. Definitely could be a receiver here. I think you can wait on that, though, because I think the more important need is either cornerback or tackle. And with J.C. Latham sitting here, or even Amarius Mims if you want to get the Georgia teammates across from each other, either one works. Kind of pick your poison, but it's not even poison. It's like pick your favorite fucking pizza. Either way you go here, J.C. Latham or Amarius Mims, it's going to be just fine. And I think I'm going to go with Latham. Higher on my board. I think a little bit more refined as a prospect, you could say. Amarius Mims maybe a little bit more raw. And J.C. Latham was much improved this year for Alabama, especially in the run game and definitely also in the pass game. But you just need to really secure and lock down those corner pieces, and this does that for you at the tackle spots for the Steelers for the long run. Pick number 21 for the Dolphins. You need some offensive line help. You could use some interior defensive line help, and I think Byron Murphy is actually probably the best player on the board here for you. So why not take him? He fell here to 21. Does this happen in the draft? Maybe. I don't really think it would, but it might happen. Draft is crazy, like we know. Byron Murphy, though, super athletic. He's been compared to Aaron Donald over the offseason, which I don't think is fair, even though I can see why, a little bit undersized at 6'1", but I think he's like 310. So he's a really good player. He can absolutely move the pocket from the interior. He can also flex out to a 3-4 D end, in my opinion. Versatile, really good pass rush, can also be a really good run stopper. He's going to be a really productive player in the NFL. Pick number 22 for the Eagles. You lost Jason Kelce. Do they go with more offensive line help? I don't think so. I think Mailata and Lane Johnson are kind of sure things. Maybe Lane Johnson retires next year, so if they know that, like maybe you draft Amarius Mims to cover for that. I think, though, that corner is such a pressing need that it needs to be addressed with one of these top guys before the talent really falls off a little bit. And in my opinion, I think the best fit is probably Nate Wiggins. I almost went Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I think Nate Wiggins, with his size and not strength, but speed and ball skills, being able to track the ball and knock it out of the receiver's hands, I think that kind of fits what Philly has done with their corners in recent history. Pick number 23, Vikings' second pick, which might not be their second pick. They might only have one pick at the end of day one. We will find out, though, but they do have two here. And you got Michael Penix. You still have a really good receiving core. I think this has to be a defensive pick. You did get Jonathan Grenard, and I think you still have Marcus Davenport there, right? Do they still have Marcus Davenport? Oh, no, Davenport went to the Lions. That's right. So, yeah, you need someone across from Grenard, and I think Jared Verse is a fantastic fit for you in that Brian Flores defense. Can play the run really well. Obviously, can get to the passer. He's one of the best, I think the best, actually, power rusher in this class. The way he can turn speed to power is phenomenal, and he absolutely just bull rushes through people's chests. Like, you go back and watch that ACC championship game and the way that defensive line just dominated. You could pick a bunch of guys from that defensive line who dominated in that game, but Jared Verse was definitely one of them. I think he had 2 sacks in that game. Fisk had like 3 or something ridiculous like that, but Verse had a game-sealing sack where he just bullied I think it was the right tackle just right in to Jake Plummer, and it was pretty insane to watch, honestly. Pick number 24 here for the Cowboys. I think this could be a receiver. I think this could be tackle. But I think with Amarius Mims sitting here, there's really no other option that you can go with this pick. You lost Tyron Smith. You lost La'el Collins a couple years ago. The core of that offensive line is starting to fall. And I think Amarius Mims may be a little bit of a project, but Dallas has been shown to really develop offensive linemen to their ceiling and even higher than that. And Amarius Mims has quite the ceiling at 6'8" with huge arms, great athleticism. Like, the dude's an absolute mammoth of a human being. It is absurd that he chose football of all things. So I think this would be a really good pick for the Cowboys to really get that cornerstone piece again for them at the tackle position. Do you move Tyler Smith out to tackle with this move? Probably not, and I don't think you should anyways. He was so good at guard that you should leave him there, in my opinion. And then Amarius Mims just helps. Whether you want to play him at left tackle or right, it helps regardless. Pick number 25, the Green Bay Packers. And I definitely think this could be Cooper DeJean or Kool-Aid McKinstry. This has been such a difficult pick for me You lost Darnell Savage, but you gain a better player in Xavier McKinney. Can you trust Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes to be healthy? I don't know. And Jair Alexander is kind of coming to that point of his career where you might not want to re-sign him when his contract ends. With who they've brought in as their new defensive coordinator, I'm going to go Cooper DeJean. For one, he's versatile. If you want him to go play safety next to McKinney, go right ahead because McKinney can play in the box. I don't think DeJean could play in the box. He'd be more that free safety, ball hawking kind of guy. He can be a returner if you really want him to be. I don't think you should do that. Just another risk of injury. And just don't do that to one of your better players. I think he can walk in the building, be CB2 for you. He can play, like I said, across from Xavier McKinney. And I think he'd be a better option than a Carantine Valentine or not a Corey Valentine, Keyshawn Nixon at the slot. Or if you want to put Eric Stokes in the slot, which would be kind of interesting. Like I said earlier, you can't have enough secondary talent. It's such a volatile position. And there's so many injuries out there that happen in weird ways, whether you get rolled up on, take a wrong step, things happen. And when you've had guys like Jair and Eric Stokes who've been prone to injuries the last couple years, maybe you want to get a guy who's played consistently for that Iowa defense in Cooper DeJean, and has been really, really productive as well. Pick number 26, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You need edge help. You lost Shaq Barrett. Joe Tryon has not really worked out. Do you like an edge guy here? Maybe you like a Chop Robinson. That's really the only guy I would take here. You could also go corner. You lost Carlton Davis, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Kool-Aid McKinstry here to Tampa. I think that really fits what they want to do on defense. He can be physical. He can run with anyone. He's got good speed. I love his ball skills, and he's also just a playmaker, in my opinion. I mean, he played punt return for them. He's played outside corner. He's shown the ability to play inside as well. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a really good player, and I hate that he got that injury when they were doing the physical, the stress fracture, I think it was, in his foot. Like, it pained me to see that because I think he would have lit up the combine and then shot back up boards because I really like Kool-Aid, not only for his name. He's just a fun player to watch, man. He's a really productive player, and I think he's going to be a really good corner in this league for years to come. Pick number 27 for the Cardinals, and this is where I'm going to take Chop Robinson. Some people have already made the comparison, you could call it, to guys that Jonathan Gannon has coached previously, especially in Philadelphia with guys like Hassan Reddick. And if you look at even Jonathan Gannon's draft class last year with BJ Ojolari, who's super athletic as well, I think Chop Robinson fits the same kind of mindset and prototype that he's looking for in his edge rushers. And Chop Robinson, he could be the best edge rusher out of this class. There's no doubt about that. The dude's first step is unreal, and he has some unreal bend to go with it. If he adds some power and play strength to his game, good Lord, watch out, because this guy is coming for that all-pro spot. Pick number 28 for the Buffalo Bills. They have taken some damage this offseason. I think it's too easy of a pick for me here. I love A.D. Mitchell, or Adonai Mitchell, out of Texas, formerly of Georgia. Won a national championship at Georgia. Tried to do it at Texas. They almost got there. He is, for his size, at 6'3", I believe he came in. Maybe it was 6'2". But for his size as a receiver, he's one of the more fluid route runners in this class. Like, the way he just moves is just so fluid and loose. But he also can throttle down super quickly, get in and out of breaks, better or as good as anyone in this class. And I think he kind of compares to a Stephon Diggs kind of player, maybe without the quote-unquote drama that people want to bring up. I think A.D. Mitchell really fits what this team wants to do. Josh Allen needs help on the perimeter. All they have out there now is Khalil Shakir. They got Kincaid, and they have Dawson Knox. I'm trying to think of other people that they have, and it's really not clicking. So they don't have a lot, to say the least. A.D. Mitchell would be quite the upgrade. Pick number 29, Detroit Lions. I feel like a Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson just fits what they want to do. Even a Zach Frazier. What do they want to do, though? You got Marcus Davenport over the offseason. You helped your secondary with Carlton Davis. I think you could still use some secondary help, though. Maybe a guy like a Kamari Lassiter. Thing is, I don't know if they really need interior offensive line. I know they lost Jonah Jackson. You still have Frank Ragnow. I know maybe he doesn't play that much longer. They did sign Zeitler, though, so I don't think it's a need right now. I think I'm going to go Kamari Lassiter. Can play inside or out. I also think he would walk in and be better than Carlton Davis. I am not the biggest Carlton Davis fan by any means, but I think he's a good player. But I think Kamari Lassiter, his ceiling is definitely much higher than a Carlton Davis. I think he's got good physicality. Like I said, versatile, can play in the slot, can play outside. Played a lot of outside corner for the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know. I think Lassiter also had some really good testing numbers. He looked really good in the on-field drills. Fits what that defense wants to do. And they just need secondary help. That is by far the most pressing need on that team. Pick number 30 here for the Baltimore Ravens. OBJ not coming back. You lost Morgan Moses and some other pieces on that offensive line, including Kevin Zeitler, who we just talked about. This could definitely be a tackle. Who do you have across from Odafe Owe? Because then it could lead to maybe taking a Braylon Trice, Chris Braswell, Darius Robinson. Although those guys might be a little bit of a reach here. I'm going to go Graham Barton here, I think, for the Ravens to secure the interior of that offensive line. Super versatile offensive lineman. He's played literally everywhere for Duke. He's taken snaps at center. He's played guard. He played tackle this past season and looked really good. Anywhere you want to put Graham Barton, he will play, and he will play pretty damn well. And I think he can definitely walk in, be a day one starter for you without any sort of problems. Pick number 31 here for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm looking right at it. I know what it is. And they definitely need someone across from Trent Williams. How interesting would it be if we took a Jackson Powers Johnson here? Would that be kind of crazy? Am I forgetting who they have here at center? Because I feel like it wouldn't stop them. I think McKivitz is fine out there. I think Jackson Powers Johnson could be really key for that run game. I've kind of just talked myself into this. I know Tyler Guyton's here. I know a Jordan Morgan is here. But I've taken those guys a lot for the Niners. Let's mix it up. Jackson Powers Johnson for the 49ers. Really good pulling center. Just best center prospect by far, in my opinion, in this class. Should be a day one pick. Obviously, center's not the most valuable position, though, so he could definitely fall out of the first round. Doesn't here. It goes 31 to the Niners. And like I was saying, I think he would be really, really good as a run blocker in that Kyle Shanahan scheme, and he would just become one of the better centers in the NFL. Pick number 32, the Kansas City Chiefs. Rashee Rice, what are you doing, my brother? Ugh. It pains me. It pains me to see these guys, especially younger guys like Rice, just throw away careers for no goddamn reason. Yes, he'll probably be back, but come on, dude. Like, what are you doing? They were probably going to go receiver anyways, the Chiefs, but now it's kind of set in stone that that's what they're going to do. I've gone Xavier Worthy here a lot for them. Rashee Rice, more of a possession kind of guy, not really a deep threat. Better as a route runner, getting open. They didn't bring back McCole Hardman, right? So they still need that deep threat. Obviously, you got Kelsey underneath. No, they brought in Marquise Brown as a deep threat. I think Alad McConkey could be kind of interesting here. But Marquise Brown also plays a lot out of the slot. I don't remember. Did they re-sign MVS? No, they got rid of MVS. I think I'm going to take an MVS replacement here. I know they got Marquise Brown. But I'm going to take Troy Franklin here, who has definitely fallen down the board for me. However, I think in an Andy Reid offense, he'd be really good. And he'd also be one of their bigger options on the outside, and he can also play on the inside if you want him to. Two Oregon guys go back to back here. But Troy Franklin, deep threat. I know for the combine, he came in a little lighter than some people expected. I think that goes back up. His play weight, I think, is probably more around 190. And I think he can really develop as a route runner. I know the line drill that everyone kind of looks to and is like, dude, this was dog shit. Wasn't running fast, was weaving a ton. I don't look too much into that, even though it wasn't appealing. I still think Troy Franklin's a really good player. He adds another deep threat to the offense. And I think the more deep threat pieces you add to this offense, the more that it becomes even easier for Travis Kelce to keep producing. But then they'll come down to try and double team Travis Kelce, and boom, you got Troy Franklin and you got Marquise Brown running down the sidelines wide ass open. And both of them can run by people. But that is the mock draft. I hope you all enjoyed. I know we got a little bit wild with this one, especially at the top of it. Kind of settled in a little bit, but still some different picks from my recent mock drafts. And you got to just feel out every option that you have, because you're not going to be 100% correct. You can hope to be, and you can hope your team, gets, for me, a Drake May at 6, even though I highly doubt that happens. I think the Giants would have to trade up to get him. Yeah, it was a fun mock draft. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, let me know in the comments below what y'all think. And again, we will be going live for the NFL draft. So I will see y'all in the next one. Take care and peace.